Hello, beautiful ones. This is Lorelei from the Tightrope to 5D Music Reactions. Now you might say, what the heck is 5D? And that's a great question, but it's not one I can answer in 30 seconds. So if you stick around, I'll give you a special 5D message today. Now take it, by the way, from someone who's been forged in the fires of painful third dimensional experiences and then come out the other side to that 5D peace and bliss and serenity. You don't want to miss this video. I appreciate, by the way, if you give this video a like, and also the other original one in the notes later on. It's great karma and it spreads the love. So today we are looking at, hang on, Dimash, the meaning of eternity. Let's just stop there for a moment. Now, I'm gathering that this is from some kind of a movie or a show or something like that, a play, a musical kind of thing. And so I don't know the context of it whatsoever. But so far, you know, it's talking about having, he lost his way, but now he's back on the path. And he sees the beautiful colors and the beauty of everything around him. And he understands the eternity of life. So this is playing in the fifth dimensional realm with the words, no question about it. The eternalness of life, if you will, is what I think I heard him say. So, and then you have the sound of it. Now the sound is really playing in that 5D realm because it's uplifting, it's soothing, it's calming, it's loving, it's, yeah, loving. That's all I can say about it. So far we're playing in 5D without a doubt. Goodness, listen to that voice. Holy cow. Oh, wow. So, okay, so as I understand it now, as I'm getting more of the story, so it sounds like it's a person who is in the process of death or anticipating death, and understanding that that is not all there is, that there is more than that. And wow, that is so true. And as they say, we are more like a caterpillar in a cocoon in this life, in this third dimensional reality. And when we emerge as the butterfly, that's when we're emerging into fifth dimensional reality. Because the caterpillar in the cocoon was never the totality of who we are. So it's just a transition from one to the next. So, wow. That was just absolutely beautiful. Let me get back to my full screen here. And very profound. I'd say that on a scale of what is like third dimensional and what is fifth dimensional in music, I'm going with a 4.9 up here. This is high. This is high vibrational. The beauty of it, the sound of it, the message of it, you know. By the way, do you see what I'm saying? Are you experiencing it the way I am? I'd like you to comment and let me know. If you're experiencing that, it's lifting you up. It's so beautiful and everything else. And yes, there's a little bit of sadness of this passing to the other side, or whatever you may say. But there's also the joy, because he said it's beautiful here. This is a beautiful place to be in. And I think that this is true about our loved ones who have passed through to the other side. They're in this beautiful place. We're the ones stuck in some of the trauma and the drama here. They're the ones in this beautiful place, right? So we have that a little bit background, backwards. They've got their butterfly wings, you know. So yes, this is quite, I would give it a high vibrational song. Beautiful job, Dimash. I don't understand what that robot business was. Maybe somebody could comment and tell me what, because everything else I kind of got. But that robot business, what does a robot have to do with this? I don't get it. And I still don't get it. So maybe it's having to do, I'm wondering if it has to do with the story, maybe. That it was a child who was somehow involved in the robot, or with the robot or something. I don't know. Maybe somebody can give me a little bit of information on that. Okay. So just tell you a little bit about me, and I'm not going into any great detail, but I, as you know, I've had some interesting, we're calling that, experiences in life. Well, you might call painful or traumatic, and came out to the other side, loving my life after a lot of work. I'm going to tell you, it was like a lot of work, 20 years or whatever. By about year 15, or maybe 12, I was able to start contributing to others what I'd learned, but still I was also working on myself. So I've created some things that would be a contribution, hopefully, for you, body, mind, spirit. I've learned a lot of just directions about what it takes for us to be happy, healthy, fit, and joyful, and everything else. So if you want to take a look at the gamut of what I've created, you can look on my YouTube description and just scroll down to the About Lorelei Patreon page. Now let's get to our 5D message. And my 5D message for today that I was given is, why is free will both the greatest gift ever and also a bit of a challenge? So what is the reason for that? So let's understand, first of all, what are we talking about when we talk about free will? And I want to just really go way back to the very beginning, and I've talked about this in one of my other videos. Got to go back to those videos, guys. Take a look at them back about a week and a half. When you start to see showing up in the notes 5D message, that has a specific 5D message for you. All of them have a message, but that has a specific 5D message, and you can see what the message is there. So if you put the gamut of that together, you're going to come up with the whole entirety of what I'm trying to give to you, I guess was to say. Let's go back to the beginning. And I talked about the beginning in one of my other videos, when everything got created. And the creator of everything, begins sort of chunking off portions of himself to become angels. I would say archangels probably at that stage. And then those begin creating planets in heaven, I don't know, like galaxies, what should I say, universes, galaxies, planets, asteroids, the whole 9 yards. And, particularly looking at each planet and saying, what do we want this planet to be like? Do we want it to have more water, more land, or what even was water and land? Did they even know what kind of animals would be on it and everything else? So all of that is going on. But in the very beginning, when those pieces of the creator were kind of being taken off to be their own beings, they were very much given the gift of free will. Now, why is this? Because what would it be to have parts of yourself that are out there and they don't have free will? And so those are really like in the video, those are really very much like robots. Those aren't really anything that you could interact with in any meaningful way as the creator of everything, right? You would just have little mini yous. It'd be like I don't know, that movie mini where the mini guy, like, right, you got just carbon copies of you. It'd be like clones. And who the heck wants to be a clone, number one? And who the heck wants to interact with clones? So this was not what Prime Creator had in mind at all, that he should have clones of himself that would be directed by him and that should have just be moved about like on the chessboard. He wanted those beings out there to have complete and utter freedom to use their divine God powers and be the divine beings that they were. And then when they began to chunk off parts of themselves, they also went down the line and wanted those beings to have free will. Everybody was gifted the greatest gift of all that would even have you be an actual individual was free will. Everybody was gifted that. Every soul, every individual. It doesn't have to just be humans, because there are other kinds of individuals out in the universe and the cosmos and so on. Every individual is given that particularly that had a spirit and a soul, right? Was given that gift of free will. And that was the most precious gift of all. And it is the gift that you are absolutely in the fifth dimensional reality and above not allowed to impinge upon. In fact, it's universal law that nobody can impinge upon people's free will. Okay? Because that's law of the universe. No one, not even any being of a third dimension or any dimension or whatsoever, cannot impinge upon free will, except that they do. And these darker individuals, they certainly have had a blast impinging upon our free will, coming to our planet, bringing down the fall from the fifth dimension and bringing that about, dropping seeds into our consciousness, trying to have a consciousness out here that was dark by nature so they can control us, a fear-based consciousness, a ego-based consciousness, a consciousness where people war with each other. This was going to be a lot easier for the dark individuals who wanted to control this planet to control us. So, so they did come down and do that. But what do you do when someone comes down and does that? Well, it's a bit of a conundrum, because you also can't impinge upon their free will, and you cannot impinge upon the free will of the population if they should decide to go in those directions, right? Except in the case of if people were to ask for assistance. Remember, ask and it shall be given. Seek and you shall find. If individuals were to ask for assistance, then you could do that. Okay, if they were to say to the angels, the archangels, the ascended masters, the family of light, can you please assist me? Absolutely, then they can be assisted, okay? However, here's the challenge. Why it was such a challenge, this free will, is because having been kept so far down and so dark in third dimension, and a lot of the darkness that's been going on, the human trafficking, the the horrible things done to children, the things done to women, just on and on and on. That people were in a high level of darkness in a lot of ways on this planet. So we were at such a dark point that we could not even know that they existed out there. Half of us, we might believe in a God, so then we might beg for help, please, please, as opposed to no, take your power and just ask for help, right? But we blamed God. So that was another problem, because we blamed God, we blamed the higher beings for not coming in and saving us, when if they had come in to save us, it was a destruction of our individuality and our free will. So we've been about the business of blaming for that for a long time, and we really need to give that up, because it really is the gift. And any harm that is done to us anyway in this life, in this reality, we have other lives, and plenty of them, to get back on track and to live again and to try again, and so on and so forth. So you might consider it, instead of considering just pure evil being allowed to occur, you might consider that the parent is allowing the child to fall down and then get himself up again and then fall down and then get himself up again and then fall down. And we all want to do that, right? Except that our falling happens over an entire lifetime. Then we get back up in a new lifetime. Might fall again, but we get back up in another lifetime, and so on until we can stand fully on our feet as the divine creator beings, the spark of God that we are. Letting go of all the old muck and the mire of the third dimension, the ego, the fear, the anger, the sadness, all that is what it takes to stand on our own 2 feet. So free will has been just such absolutely, you couldn't do it any other way. There's no other way to do it except to give people complete and utter free will. Otherwise, you haven't got individuals at all. You have none of it, nothing. We're gone. There's nothing. Just a bunch of robots running around, okay? So, but it's been a challenge because of that darkness that was brought in and how we didn't even know. However, the good news is this. It was understood that about this time, we would begin to sort of wake up. We were a little behind the eight ball, though, I think by about the 1930s. But people were raising. And a lot of people who knew about this were starting to ask, can you please come assist us? Can you please come assist us? And so they were starting to be able to do that. And then more people by like the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, more waking up and saying, I know you're out there, can you assist? I know you're out there, can you assist? And meanwhile, we were going through this photon belt, which I talked about in another video, where the high vibrational light was coming in like crazy. Now, had we not asked for help, literally we could have had another Noah's Ark situation where we all got wiped off the planet, because that's how strong that light is. But because we asked for that, we were getting that assistance to make sure this light coming in was not going to harm us. And it's been amazing, right? Because we are now past the point of no return. We cannot be harmed by the light coming in. We can only raise and eventually get to the point where we pass through to that 5th dimensional reality. It's really a consciousness shift, which, as I understand it, and that's a good, maybe I'll just do a whole video on what that means. The literal, what's it like, or what does it mean to literally pass from 3D to 5D? I think I'm going to write that down and make a note of that. But so it was a challenge. Our biggest challenge was that we were in that darkness and we didn't even know what else was out there. So I'm going to encourage you guys to understand that there's more out there. And there's a lot, there's not only angels, archangels, ascended masters in our family of light, but there is the Galactic Federation of Light. Like, no kidding, all that Star Wars stuff was an actual real thing, right? There is a Federation of Light out there. And so they are out there, and many of them are operating, the ones that are family of light are operating from a 5th dimensional consciousness and higher. So there's so much out there. I encourage you to, have your eyes on the skies and take a look. That's another good video. Galactic Family of Light. Let me just write that down before I forget. Hopefully I haven't forgotten the other thing either already. So that is my 5th dimensional message for you today. Free will has been a little bit of a challenge, but it's also absolutely the most profound gift to give us, that we could actually be human or other kinds of individuals, that we could actually exist as we do. So thank God for that free will. Okay, sending you those 5th dimensional energies, that peace, that bliss, that joy, that abundance, that freedom, complete and utter freedom. Right now, namaste. I honor the God in you.